All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for a video on cryptocurrency every day. My name's Austin. In today's video, I want to show you an explosive argument between the crowd, Tone Vays, and Craig Fake Satoshi Wright at a recent London blockchain conference. This is found footage. Things get heated. I also want to show you just how bullish Canada is. This just came out in creating their own digital national currency. And of course, like always, we are about 6 months away as of today. We are about 6 months away before the May 2020 Bitcoin halving. And because of that supply shock that we've had only 2 other times in the past, I want to talk about price speculation, what this means for Bitcoin, what this means for you. So like always, let's jump in. This graph right here illustrates the price action of Bitcoin 6 months prior. The blue line represents the 2012 halving, and the purple line represents the 2016 halving, what the price of Bitcoin did 6 months prior to those halvings. So, in those 6 months before the 2012 Bitcoin halving, the price of Bitcoin jumped from about $5 to about $12. In those 6 months before the 2016 Bitcoin halving, the price of Bitcoin jumped from about $350 to about $650, a jump of 1.7x in the 6 months leading up to 2016. So using this to determine where the price of Bitcoin may be 6 months from now, historically, it seems to trend up. Now notice, as Bitcoin matures every 4 years, as the network continues to grow and mature, volatility seems to decrease. So while the first 4 years was a 2.3x in those last 6 months, the last halving was a 1.7x, let's just speculate if from 6 months from today, if Bitcoin went up maybe 1.5x into May of 2020. So an $8,000 Bitcoin with a 1.5x gain in the next 6 months, that would put us around a $12,000 Bitcoin going into the May 2020 halving. Obviously, since we touched about 14,000 3 months ago, it makes sense that in 6 months we could get to 12,000, but let me remind you that this is a chart of Bitcoin's halving history. The first halving in 2012, second halving in 2016, and it's not usually until after the halving, it's not the day of, it's about 6 months after that the supply shock really sets in, that the price really starts to pump. But the point is, just looking historically, in 6 months' time, we might be looking at a $12,000 Bitcoin based on historics. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. But like always, I have additional information. This is why you subscribe. I have different perspective comparing the 2016 halving to where we are now, the 2020 halving cycle, not based on 6 months out, but instead based on yearly lows, bear market troughs, like the 3,000 we saw in December, to where we should be, or maybe a better word is where we could be. This is all speculation, by the 2020 halving based on the lows we see the year before. So if we look at 2016, there was a 192% rise from the middle of the bear valley, the lows we saw the year before, to the 2016 halving date. In that time, it took 449 days. Bitcoin rose about 200%. Now, if we compare that, what happened in 2016 to the 2020 halving cycle, which we're at now, first, notice how much faster it happened, how much more excitement there was for this 2020 halving, because if we look at 2016, really we trended below the line up until this basic trend line up until the 2016 halving. We skyrocketed. We shot right past that couple months into this, about 450-day cycle. But just based on this trend line, let's get to the point, just based on this trend line, if we go up 192% from the halving, from the low of 2018, that would put us at about a $9,938 Bitcoin in 6 more months. So this metric says $9,900 Bitcoin. This metric says a $12,000 Bitcoin roughly by the 2020 halving. You tell me, is this a little low? You can make the argument that we're going to shoot past a $9,900 Bitcoin because of this excitement we saw in the first half of this pre-cycle to the halving, but we'll see. If you're asking me, My opinion, historically, we don't see new all-time highs till after the halving. So either way, I'm still banking on that we're not going to pass 20K Bitcoin before May of 2020. But that's me. Guys, so let's keep going. I have 4 pieces of news to show you, starting with Bookings.com becomes the latest firm to drop out of Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency. So Libra is hemorrhaging partners or contributors at this point. But new update from the Calibra head, Libra is absolutely not in jeopardy without PayPal, without Visa, and now without Bookings.com. The head of Facebook's Calibra just came on record claiming that the recent withdrawals of the 7 firms from the Libra Association has no impact on the project, because dropouts will still be able to work with Libra. Marcus emphasized that companies outside of the formal association will still be able to offer services on the platform. One thing that is not well understood is that you don't need to be a member of the Libra Association to build services and products. So, if Visa and MasterCard want to issue cards for Libra Wallet at a later stage, they can still do it without being a member of the association. So my takeaway is that Calibra is still going full steam ahead. They are not slowing down based on the dropouts of the 7 major players. But if Visa, if PayPal wanted to come on board at a later date, David Marcus is saying that that's still very much a possibility. So we will see. I will keep you informed. Now, before we get to this blow up between Tone Vays and an audience member and Craig Wright, I do want to clue you in on just how bullish. We talk about China's national currency all the time. We speculate on the US getting into a national digital currency all the time. Canada is pretty much flying under the radar just how bullish they are on creating their own national currency. Check this out.
How about we talk cryptocurrency then?
Yes.
And the government wants to get into this?
When you think about all the transactions that we already do on debit cards and credit cards and e-transfers and everything else, the thinking here at the Bank of Canada is, you know, you've got things like Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum, and they're all not regulated. And of course, they've been exceptionally volatile. We know all about that, Roger. But at the same time, is this the next phase of how we transact? And the Bank of Canada sort of wants to get ahead of the curve. They've got this internal memo saying, yeah, eventually they're likely going to launch some sort of a crypto because it's about regulation. All of these new cryptocurrencies are not overseen by any type of government regulator, and they'd like to have a little bit more say. The flip side, of course, is they can use this to track our spending. So everybody's going, oh, privacy. But aren't you already kind of giving that away when you use any type of points collection or anything of that nature, right? But nevertheless, something that will likely happen over the course of years, not going to happen necessarily tomorrow.
But it's coming. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Why? That's taking it
a little too heavy.
Mildly, but
nevertheless. A little too heavy. All right.
All right. Like it or not, Canada is very bullish on their own national digital currency. You don't hear about this a lot, but this might come a lot sooner than you think. You let me know what you think. Let's get to the fireworks. This went on probably 2 days ago, 1 day ago, at the London Blockchain Conference. And this is Tone Vays against Craig Wright. I'm not sure exactly what has just gone down before this, but I believe, and quote me if I'm wrong, this is Craig Wright's sole presentation. He's not speaking with anybody at this point. He has just let slip out that the Satoshi white papers were plagiarized off a document that he wrote in 2008. Either way, Tone Vays takes the mic and says, why are we listening to this guy? He's been proven to lie in the past about who he is. So why would anything going forward be taken into account? Which, I mean, props to him. That makes sense to me. Then a random lady joins in against Craig Wright, and these are just some of the fireworks going on right now. Either way, I'll leave you with this. Like the video, and like always, I'll see you tomorrow.
Why anybody was clapping at any point. I'm actually not sure why Mr. Wright was given the stage. He just admitted that he did not write the Satoshi white paper. He just admitted earlier that
I know this is
plagiarism. There was an orgy of evidence that shows that everything he's ever published online is fraudulent.
Exactly.
So why does anything he has to say going forward relevant?
Exactly.
Because
Bravo.
It doesn't matter what your vacuous ideas are.
It doesn't matter whether you like my patents. It doesn't matter whether you like N-Chain. In 5 years' time, when we have another 1,000 patents granted, and we have IBM, and we have Microsoft, and we have Apple, and we have Google, and we have all these companies paying us money, you can choose not to have anything to do with me. The same way you can choose not to have anything to do with the internet.
That's exactly what you want. You are a mole trying to crash Bitcoin. Farmer Craig, pumpkin man Craig, go back to your farm, your pumpkins and your tomatoes, and grow a super farm.
Oh, sorry. With that, I created it. You get to live it.
It's not going to matter.
You are bogus.
You're going to be in prison within the next couple of years anyway for everything you've already done.
People, it's not about who he is. It's not about, wait, it's not about who he is. It's about the